How's it going once again? Welcome back to another show. This is You Made Roscoe, and I am Roscoe. And today's show, we're going to be doing part two to a reaction that I've done. Uh, the name of this is Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, a courtship of rivals basketball. We'll be diving into this. Before we do that, I do want to ask for anybody who hasn't already that they please subscribe to the channel and also make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be reminded of future shows. Um, any shout outs? Shar, I gave a shout out to last time. That's Lady Shar of Lady Shar Reacts. Go check out her page and subscribe and all that stuff. But who else? There was somebody else that I wanted to give a shout out to, but I'm just forgetting right now. But I'll remember that person maybe as we go or something like that. We'll do that. But I'll just give a shout out to everybody, like even everybody out there in the crowd right there on the screen, if they still here. But yeah, no. I'm gonna go ahead and get this started.
First, how much Bird loved the city back.
There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick. Thank you.
Man, Larry was almost agoraphobic in his treatment of anything outside his hometown.
He wanted to be the Wizard of Oz. He wanted to intimidate people and keep them at bay. The further we are away from each other, the more I like it.
I had a nice little house. I had my little yard. I want to go from there to practice back. If we had a game coming up, I want to go there to the game and back home. It was all basketball. My whole life was basketball.
If he was just sitting there, it was just me, you were looking around, mumbling, trying to find things that we had in common that we could talk about. Now, we started talking about basketball, started talking about players. It was, it was great. U.S. history? Nope.
We forced passes, we made errors down the stretch.
Daily events? Nope.
I made the shot, and from then on we was up by 2, and they had to get back in the game, which they did.
Politics? Nope.
Try to not do anything I can't do or do no more than what I can do. I just go out and try to do my basic game.
He proudly dubbed himself the Hick from French Lick, and he looked every bit the part. But those who played him for simple did so at their own peril.
One of the great ways, I think, of winding up with no money in your pocket is to think Larry Bird is dumb. Syntax is not intelligence. Unlettered is not stupid.
He's got a great sense of humor. He just didn't show that to people. That didn't mean he didn't have it.
He did, however, allow the public one small indulgence.
You could come out on Saturday and watch him mow his lawn.
Huge crowds started to stop. Larry Bird's cutting grass in front of his house. He's mowing his lawn in the springtime.
Larry is about doing things himself. And I think it's one of the things that made him so beloved in Boston.
But as Bird navigated through his new world, he still had one eye fixed on a familiar foe in a faraway land.
What tripped me out was I'm riding in the limo, and I'm seeing orange trees and lemon trees in people's front yards. I said, stop, I gotta go pick an orange. Are you crazy? I said, no, I gotta do this. And so I ran up like a scared little kid, grabbed the orange and ran back to the limo. I'd never seen an orange tree. I'd never seen a lemon tree. I was fascinated.
When 20-year-old Irvin Johnson arrived in Los Angeles in the fall of 1979, he was a world away from Lansing, the only home he'd ever known. He was the #1 pick of the LA Lakers, a once dominant franchise stuck in mediocrity. In the stoic Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers had talent, was energy. Irvin Magic Johnson was only too happy to provide it.
I have no clue why they just jumped that little skip right there. But after that few seconds of talking about Kareem, and then, they skip right back to Magic again. I guess because the focus is on them, on Magic and Bird. But let's keep this going. Also, I thought that was cool that Bird, at least for me, you know what I mean? The kind of focus that he had, like I don't want to, if it ain't basketball, I ain't talking about it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I like me when I operate, or how I used to operate. I'm trying to get away from that a little bit more as I get older, of being so single focused when I'm in my mode. You know what I mean? Because I can get kind of neurotic. You know, and I'm focused. You know, when I'm locked in, I'm locked in. So I don't like to be. I don't like that, and I'm very time conscious too, like extremely time conscious. You know, like every second counts to me. You know, so some of that I have to peel away from, because I know that most other people don't operate like that, you know, and I find myself either frustrating myself or frustrating other people because they don't move how I move, you know. So I had to reel back from that and realize like everybody got their own pace, the way they do things, all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, Bird was just single focus, like blinders, like a Clydesdale or something. Like I don't want to see nothing else, man. You know, that was a trip. But let's keep this going.
Lit the place up, changed the franchise, changed the temperament. I changed it from the very first game.
Skyhook up and good. Lakers win.
Here it was, the first game of a long season against the lowly Clippers. And Magic was embracing Kareem as if they'd just won their 10th straight championship. It was like, man, this is a different kind of dude.
From the day he arrived, he became the prince of the city. He reminded me of a guy who wakes up without an alarm clock. And that's what I used to always say. I want to be happy enough to wake up without an alarm clock because I want to go into my world.
He had it, what it is. As far as I was concerned, the it was not his ability or his size. The it was his attitude, was his leadership, was his mind. I mean, I don't have to talk about Game 6 at Philadelphia.
Magic Johnson will shove.
In his rookie season, Magic had helped lead the Lakers to the NBA Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. In Game 6, with an injured Abdul-Jabbar back home in LA, Magic played all 5 positions, scored 42 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists, leading the Lakers to the championship. In just 4 years, he had won titles in high school, college, and the pros.
Magic, what do you have that makes you perform like this in these championship games?
Well, I don't know, just I love to win. Across the masthead of the Los Angeles Times the next day, it said, "It's Magic."
He was a star when he first arrived here, coming off the NC2A game. And quickly, during that first season, he became one of the stars in town. But that game put him on another level. That made him the star in town.
It's funny how I wanted to meet the celebrities, but they wanted to meet me. I was like shocked.
Crazy dude.
Like, wow, you know who I am?
He was young, famous, and after Lakers owner Jerry Buss signed him to a 25-year, $25 million contract, very rich. The kid from...
That's a crazy contract. That is a crazy contract, dude. And Dr. Buss, he kind of got Magic a little bit with that one. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if that deal ever got restructured while Magic was playing, but oh my God, Magic got robbed with with that contract. You know what I mean? And nobody ever in their life would sign a contract like that in current day. You know what I mean? Like I know in baseball they'll be signing like 12 and 14-year deals and all that type of stuff. And it's like, man, how did like it's so many things that can happen in a decade plus, you know what I mean? Like even man, but Magic, he definitely got undercut with that one. But I see him out here hobnobbing with the snobs, Sidney Poitier, Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Everybody loving this dude. Muhammad Ali. That was dope. You know what I mean? I want to meet the stars. They want to meet me. You know, that's dope.
Lansing was ready to sample a different kind of fruit. His playboy boss knew all the ripest trees.
I said, oh, I'm hanging with him. When they were coming into the box and he had 10, 20 of them, and look, Irvin, which one you want? And I was like, oh, okay, it's like that? And then he said, I'm going to take you to the Playboy Mansion. What? The mansion?
Wow.
No, you're kidding. I said, yep. Wow. So I went there, and my first time, I'm backing up like, I can't believe I'm in, but I'm backing up away. You know, it's like, I'm scared to death. Probably 10 guys to 100 women, you know. Everybody think it's sex-driven, but it's really not. You have dinner, then you watch the latest movie. And then, of course, I don't want to ever say that sex wasn't involved, because you know, if you meet somebody, that's what you wanted to do, you did that. But it's really a great experience to go up there. So yeah, I had fun there.
He can't.
That's funny how he tries to make it a tiny bit wholesome. The Playboy Mansion, like it ain't all about the depravity and all that. You know, it's you eating dinner and like no. I'm pretty sure like one of these trips to the mansion, you probably caught that package, bro. and well, people from the hood would know what that means when I say you caught the package, but yeah, Mike. I mean, not Mike, but Magic. We all know that he eventually would catch HIV and all that. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, he still he looks so super healthy. Like it looked like ain't nothing wrong with him to this day. You know what I mean? Like he's still doing, the world is his oyster still. He owns the Dodgers, or is maybe the major leader as far as that's concerned. But yeah, no, he's out here. His business is strong. You know what I mean? Like he's strong. It's crazy. But let's see what old Pat got to say.
Really not. You have dinner, then you watch the latest movie. And then, of course, I don't want to ever say that sex wasn't involved, because if you meet somebody, that's what you wanted to do, you did that. But it's really a great experience to go up there. So yeah, I had fun there.
He came to L.A. like the Pied Piper. People were giving him this and giving him that, but he stayed pretty grounded to the game.
Everybody was getting high then, but you can't even smoke a joint around Magic.
He had real old school, down in the trenches work ethic, and that was honed in him by his dad, Irvin Johnson Sr.
Magic was always this guy. He never did none of that, so I did everything for him.
Magic Johnson was living on a natural high. He was starring in the role of a lifetime, point guard of a Hollywood team with an offense called Showtime. He even had the alter ego perfect for the production.
I mean, Magic was his stage name. Even he would laugh about it.
Well, he always says there's two people. There's Irvin Johnson from East Lansing, and there's Magic Johnson from Hollywood.
Irvin Johnson is another guy. Here's Magic over here, and here's Irvin over here.
Irvin is this fun-loving guy. Magic was so serious and dedicated to his game, and he was a crazy, crazy competitor and a crazy man.
Irvin, I think, is the smiling kid from Lansing. I think Irvin died about 25 minutes after the NCAA championship game.
Irvin doesn't have the ego that Magic has. Magic got a crazy ego, and winning is everything.
And Irvin wanted to, along with Magic, conquer LA.
After having led the Lakers to 2 NBA titles in their first 4 years in town, Magic and Irvin were well on their way.
That's so that's funny that he says that, because I've always said that about myself, ever since like somewhere in the mid '90s when I was given the name Roscoe, because I come from a place where everybody had a nickname except for me for a long while. Like my nickname was my real name for a long, long time. And then some chick started, well, not some chick, she was a friend of mine. Shout out to Yella too. But yeah, no, she gave me the name Roscoe, and ever since then I was Roscoe, but Roscoe was this mythical thing, and then that was me, but yeah, no, it's funny that he says that, but let's keep this going.
I think Magic wanted to be friends with Larry Bird. He wanted to be friends with him on the World Invitational Tournament, and Larry just wasn't very receptive. I think he wanted to be friends with him during the Final Four. Larry wouldn't even go over and shake his hand. So now Magic's saying, well, what's with this guy? Everybody loves me. How come you don't love me? And then they get to their rookie year, the first time they play each other. Well, they have a very hard foul. And they have to be separated a little bit. And Magic's like, all right, well, the heck with this guy. You don't like me? Fine. All right, good. I don't like you either.
He's a very competitive player, and I'm a very competitive player, and we go head to head, and we go for blood almost.
The vibe was nasty. It was ugly. It was we didn't like each other.
I'm the one that did all that. To tell you the truth, it was. I just don't want to be hanging around him. I mean, that was my main competition.
And he couldn't escape the memory of losing to him in 1979.
Oh, it ate at him bad that he didn't win that national title against Magic. That was something, it just burned him.
It was one thing for them to be in the 79 championship. Magic had the better team. Everybody agreed with that. Magic had the better game. Fine. Now you get to the pros. Larry has this incredible year.
Bird, a runner. It's good.
But there he is, watching in a club while Magic Johnson wins a championship, and he's thinking, all right, I'm behind 2-0 now.
I watched that game and I couldn't believe it. I always wanted to play at that level.
But what Bird couldn't possibly have known was that he had inspired Magic's performance when he was named Rookie of the Year earlier that same day.
The PR person from the Lakers says, hey, Irvin, the Rookie of the Year voting has come out. And Magic says, okay, well, who won? He said, well, Larry Bird won. And Magic says, well, was it close? And he said, oh, no.
Wow.
He went out that day, yes, to try to win the NBA championship, but also to prove it to one Larry Bird. You know what? I should have been Rookie of the Year.
Even though I
63-3 though. Like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Earlier that same day,
the PR person from the Lakers says, hey, Irvin, the Rookie of the Year voting has come out. And Magic says, okay, well, who won? He said, well, Larry Bird won. And Magic says, well, was it close? And he said, oh, no. He went out that day, yes, to try to win the NBA championship, but also to prove it to one Larry Bird. You know what? I should have been Rookie of the Year.
Even though I won the championship, I still wanted to win the Rookie of the Year, too.
He won that championship. I was pissed. I wanted one.
But even after he had won one the next year, his obsession only grew deeper.
I'd get up in the mornings and see what he did because their games came on late. Then you look at the box score. I had to have him there for some reason. It's like a crutch, somebody I can compare myself to.
I hated what was being said, that Larry was better than me, and I'm just a guy who can control the game. My first 4 or 5 years, that bothered me a lot. I didn't tell nobody it bothered me, but it did.
Their competitive dislike emerged from a greater truth, that on the court, they were doppelgangers. Team-oriented stars who cared about winning above all else. Basketball savants who fused the substance of the 60s with the style of the 70s to create a new and exciting yet selfless way to play the game in the 1980s.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass. But I'm gonna pass in a way to make you look like a jackass.
Oh my God. these passes are they off the hook, dude?
They were so similar in the way they competed. I mean, they were two halves of the same brain.
Same craziness to excel.
I seen that first couple days I was with him.
Basketball IQ off the chart.
Seen the game a little different, most players.
Playing the game the right way was everything.
A lot of guys can just score, a lot of guys can just rebound, a lot of guys can just make plays. We can do it all.
Larry and Magic could control the game with 12 shots. It was amazing. They'd be 7 for 12. They'd have 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. And you go, man, the guy shot the ball 12 times and was the best player on the court by far.
But I think it was tough at first. I don't think either one of them wanted to recognize that they had any equal anywhere in what they did. But they sure as hell didn't want to recognize that their equal happened to be that other guy.
That's why we hated each other too, because we knew we were mirrors of each other.
I think for a while the two of them had to come to grips with that.
They had begun changing the game, but with continued low television ratings and tape-delayed finals, the league was struggling to get the word out. When the NBA and CBS signed a new TV deal before the 82-83 season, the rescue plan was simple: sell more Bird and Magic, and sell them not just as ball players, but as arch-rival characters in their own dramatic saga.
You got this slick Showtime African-American guy out west, and you got the lunch bucket, floppy-haired white guy with the bruises all over his body. It's central casting, it's perfect.
I mean, this was like made in heaven. In 1979, this idea of Magic and Bird was created, and so that was sort of a no-brainer. We'd have a doubleheader. It would be the Celtics playing first and the Lakers playing second, and that's the way we did it.
Wow. And when the Celtics and Lakers both reached the finals just a year into the new TV deal in 1984, it appeared the superstar investment was about to pay off.
It was huge. It was probably the biggest moment the NBA had up to that point. You had Boston and LA, East against West. It had all the elements of a classic showdown.
Including what was becoming the most inescapable element of all.
Did we know that the blacks and whites were lining up, the whites with the Celtics, the blacks with... Of course we knew that.
Even in the Celtics' own backyard.
Wow.
They land at Logan Airport at the '84 finals. He's getting accosted by various people who are telling him Larry's going to take him down. But this one older African-American gentleman comes up to me and goes, "Magic, I want to wish you well. Good luck. I want you to crush the Celtics." And he said, "Oh, well, where are you from?" He said, "Well, I'm from Boston."
Wow.
And he said, "You're from Boston and you're rooting for the Lakers? I thought everybody here was crazy about the Celtics." And he looked right at me and said, "Now, why would I root for those white boys?"
Wow. And see that, and man, and this is not to, rain no praise on me or nothing like that, but I was like a tiny bit aware of like the racial thing. Well, more than a tiny bit aware of the racial thing, because like if I was to tell anybody as a kid, once I started watching and knew of the rivalry, that I like Bird, and people, you know what I mean, like they wouldn't go crazy and say nothing too crazy, you know what I mean? I'm in the hood with people that I know, but we'll have our own little debates all the time about, certain type of stuff. But yeah, no, I was a Bird dude. I don't know what it was that drew me to, I don't know, like, one thing I remember that I was like, I really loved and I didn't know why, was the parquet flow for the Celtics. I don't know why I was enamored with the flow, but that, and then Bird was just doing him, and I was just like, man, this dude could do everything. You know what I mean? The shooting was off the hook, and of course he rebounded, and he's doing everything. But now in retrospect, I'm like marveling at the passing aspect of him more than anything else. Now it's just like I knew he could pass then. But it's like I didn't realize that he basically could do what Magic could do. I thought he was like some ticks up under Magic as far as that aspect of the game. But man, they right there with the passing. You know what I mean? It was crazy, dude.
Boston, after all, was a town still scarred by the ugly busing crisis of the mid-'70s. A violent period of urban unrest during which white had been pitted against black. The resulting taint on the city nationally, coupled with a Boston roster littered with white players, affirmed to many black Americans that the Celtics were not the team for them.
Even today, people said, you played with the Celtics. You know, I hated you at that time. You know, I wanted Magic to win. I didn't want that damn Larry Bird to win. We had all these black players, but they looked at us because we had Larry Bird leading us as a team that was white.
They were perfect archetypes for what was becoming the biggest story in sports. But for the real-life players, the narrative was much simpler.
It's finally going to happen. We get to go head-to-head again. It's just a matter of rolling that ball out there and let's get it on.
Welcome then to the Boston Garden and the start of the NBA World Championship Series. I'm Brent Musburger. In each of the last 4 NBA World Championship Series, either Magic or Bird has competed. But this is the first time that the two have gone head-to-head for the title.
Man, we jumped out on them that first game, and we won in Boston.
And with less than a minute to go in Game 2, the Lakers were closing in on a commanding series lead.
From that point on, things began to crumble.
Down to 9 seconds. Magic holding the ball. Magic trying to work on Maxwell. Magic has still got it down to 2 seconds. 1 second. He's going to have to shoot it. He doesn't get it off. He doesn't get it off.
Cheesy Johnson dribbling the timeout. What are you doing?
The Lakers regained their stride in Game 3, only to be rudely knocked off it again in Game 4.
And now let's watch it. Cooper and the Celtics, and now the bench is empty.
When Kurt Rambis got taken out, we started fighting instead of playing.
Kareem swings the elbow, and now it's yelling at Larry Bird. Jaw to jaw.
And it made us realize we were not mentally tougher than the Celtics.
Magic's just not himself.
To be sure they won't let the time run out as they did in Game 2. Harris steals the ball, and the Celtics call a timeout.
There were a number of places where, Irvin didn't do what people expected him to do.
Tied at 123. He misses the first.
This must be when the tragic Johnson days was happening. Like that was just a tick before I started tuning in. But I had heard the stories, you know what I mean? So yeah, oh my goodness, tragic.
Johnson misses them both. Celtics want a timeout. Despondent Magic Johnson goes to the bench. Bird turnaround hits.
Game 5 went to the Celtics. Game 6 to the Lakers. It was like 1979 all over again, down to 1 game for Bird and Magic.
If everybody had to look at it, probably would have said this is going to be a 7-game series.
No, I thought we'd sweep them in 4, but this went a little bit longer. Now we just have to do it in 7.
Wow.
That's the only time I ever felt that. There ain't no way they're walking out here with a win.
Magic Johnson.
No way.
Lakers have several chances, and here's Larry Bird chucking down the court. Bird. How does he do it? Now Johnson with the ball. The Lakers trying to cut it to 1. And he loses it. The Boston Celtics are the NBA World Champions.
I pride myself in being the guy who's going to win it for us and deliver. under pressure. And it didn't happen.
I hope he was hurting. Hope it killed him. He made some bad plays down the stretch, and nobody in there was happier than me. You know, not only winning the game makes you feel good, but just knowing the other guy's suffering, and you know he was.
I remember after the game that both he and I were in the showers crying.
Who?
And stayed in there for about 35, 40 minutes. It was hard because not only had we lost to the Boston Celtics, he had lost to his nemesis, Larry Bird.
I think he just made me just like him more, you know, because he was that good. And I think you be jealous. You jealous a little bit.
Larry, does this get you even with Magic for what happened between Michigan State and Indiana State all those many years ago?
We're professionals now, but I won this one for Terre Haute.
Well, it was a big deal, and I remember asking Quinn Buckner about it afterwards. They had a celebration in downtown Boston after they won the championship, and, you know, it was unusual for Larry to have these little outbursts, as Quinn would call them. But, you know, about 11:30 at night, finally he turned to Quinn, he goes, I got him. I finally got him. And he was talking about Magic.
Wow. Wow.
The league was rejoicing too. Game 7 of the '84 series was one of CBS's highest-rated telecasts of the year, and the highest-rated game the NBA had ever produced.
All of a sudden, whether it was at CBS or Madison Avenue, the sports writers around the country became phenomena. What is happening here? The absolute foundation in this resurgence was the Celtics and the Lakers, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
But Magic was in no mood to bask in the accomplishment.
I took a media beating. Tragic Magic. This is why we say Larry Bird is better. It's probably the first time ever in my life I was depressed. And I didn't want people to see me. It was something I never dealt with in my life.
That particular series, that championship series, redefined his whole career because he never stopped working after that.
Magic was on a mission to prove to himself and the world that with the ball in his hands, he was still the one in control. And after his Lakers ran through the '85 season, he quickly got what he wanted, another shot at Bird and the Celtics.
They won the East, we won the West. So it's like everybody just get ready, sit back, and let's enjoy it.
But that smile belied the intensity of the clash that awaited.
If I had a glass of water and any of those guys had been on fire, I would have drank the water.
Was that Magic or was that Coop that pushed Maxwell like that, man? Like that 80s basketball. Whoa, that was some rough and tumble stuff. You know, in the 70s was even rougher because they was actually like they was like punching. It was not, I know the one who was that? Where Kermit Washington knocked out Rudy Tomjanovich or whatever. I know his name, but Rudy T. You know, rest in peace to Rudy T. too, by the way, who was an excellent coach. Like I loved Rudy T. as a coach when he was coaching for Houston. But yeah, no, he did them 70s for it was real, but them 80s was just a tick under. You know what I mean? Just a tick under. Oh, yeah, let's keep it going.
And watch them.
They called us, chokers and sissies. We didn't like that, and they thought less of us. I knew they did.
Ooh, what is coupon?
In '85, we played them 4 times in exhibition season for some reason. I don't know why they scheduled that. By the 4th game, there was an all-out brawl.
They call this one of the greatest rivalries in all of sport, the Celtics and the Lakers. And if that is true, it is the most one-sided rivalry in all of sports. 8 times these two have met for the NBA championship, and 8 times the Celtics have won.
At guard, in his 6th year from Michigan State, at number 32, Magic Johnson.
But in the '85 finals, Magic changed the script. Over 6 grueling games, he masterfully controlled the pace with all-around brilliance.
He has a triple-double again.
Behind their point guard, the Lakers finally knocked out the Celtics, winning the clinching game in the Boston Garden.
3 in 6 years, LA comes to Boston and wins the world title. redemption for one Magic Johnson. It's a long year last year to wait for this moment right now.
Magic had evened the score with Bird on the NBA floor. But the significance of their rivalry and their relationship was still just taking hold.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. That was I'm gonna let it go for a couple more minutes and see.
You crazy. I said, you're crazy. I'm not shooting no commercial with Larry. So I said, okay, what, we're gonna shoot in LA?
I would never went to LA to film it.
Well, where are we gonna shoot it?
If you want to shoot a commercial, come to my house.
I was like, oh no. One stoplight. And I thought Lansing was small. I think the plan was, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm trying to get up out of here. My plan was that.
Even after Converse had convinced Magic and Bird to film a sneaker ad together in the summer of '85, a question remained. How would the two hated rivals on the court get along off of it?
I don't know how he's gonna react. I don't know how I'm gonna react. We didn't even shake hands, so how are we gonna do a commercial together?
The ad was to be filmed at the home Bird had built for his mom. It featured a full-length basketball court, the day's first location.
So they say, okay, you're playing one-on-one, and I'm looking at Larry, and he's looking at me like, is this real? Are we playing? Because, you know, this is Magic and Bird.
I could just hear Larry, you know, starting in on, well, you bring it to the basket, and I'm going to send it 30 rows up.
So the guy was like, no, not like that. A fun game. We were both like, oh, okay. Like, like you can see this relief coming over both of our faces.
That's hilarious. I think I would stop it right there, you know, and save the rest for part 3. That's what I say. The last leg of this, you know, for a part 3. But we'll be able to see what happened, you know, with this fun game that happened, you know, and yeah, this was fun. This was fun, you know, and I see Larry over there with my Converse on, with those Converse, you know. But yeah, no, this was a fun trip. I can't wait. I actually can't wait to see the last leg of this. Like I said, so I'm gonna get going. You know, before I do that, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the share button, hit the playlist option. You'll pick the one name. Well, it may be in one of 2 or 3 playlists that I have, you know, because I do have the sports reactions or basketball reactions, I think is what it is, and then entertainment reactions, you know. So at least those 2, you know, this particular video will be in there. I do have a basketball highlights playlist as well, where more than likely it'll end up in there too. So either one of the 3, you know, you'll find this video. So just go through the playlist and you'll be able to find it. I do have playlists for a whole lot of other stuff, mainly music, but I do have some other stuff, as you just heard. But the Cash App is on the screen, $ You Made Roscoe. The PayPal is on the screen at You Made Roscoe. For those who like to show their support or appreciation for the work being done on the page, there's that. And that's all I got for right now. So hopefully you guys will come back with me and watch the last part of Magic and Larry Bird, and we can see how this concludes and everything. So with that said, I'm gonna get going. I'm pretty sure you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, but we will see each other on the flip side. So until next time, be safe and be good.